Today in Monster Fucking the Podcast. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Midlight Crisis, a real podcast hosted by three grown adults revisiting books from our teens, and it's totally cool. We're almost halfway done these books. Well, no, wait, we're over halfway done. We're almost done. Over halfway done is what I like to tell myself. Let's get into who we are. Just like hit the ground running, go real fast. No tangents today. Impossible. I am Sophie, and my randomly generated YA title for today is The Nation of Empires and Snapchat.
What?
I just like a nation of empires.
Yeah, what?
What? It's like, what does that even mean?
What is that? That makes no sense.
I feel like an empire of nations would make more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, at least Snapchat's there, which I suspect is like the app that me, a person too old to figure out TikTok, uses in lieu of TikTok.
You two are the only two I really send Snapchats to.
Yeah, same. We have such like an incestuous online relationship.
Yeah,
we only
really
talk
do.
to each other.
We have like 18 different chats. It's fine.
I don't talk to anybody I'm friends with in real life, just on the internet.
Just on the internet, and then I talk to them 7 different ways.
Accurate.
Well, you, my 2 friends that I talk to too much, who are you guys?
I'm Sam, and my randomly generated YA title of today is Just for Hannah, a class of fear and Formula One.
Yeah!
Hey! Wow. Yeah, anxiety and Formula One are the 2 things I think about most.
Wow!
Yep.
Amazing.
Not to spoil anything, but I'm tying Formula One into later parts of this episode just for Hannah.
Oh my god, can we fast forward to that part?
Nope!
Okay. Damn it.
Tell us your name first, Hannah.
Hi. Hi, I'm impatient, and my name is Hannah, and my YA title for today is The Architecture of Acrobats and Vlogging. But can we go back to talking about Formula One for a bit instead?
No, tell me more about the vlogging.
And the acrobats.
I feel like acrobats and vlogging is like something that would happen at a circus school.
Yeah.
And the architecture part is just to sound fancy.
I guess.
Props. Yeah.
Sound architecture.
Yeah.
Or for good acrobating.
Mm.
Is that a verb?
Yeah,
To
I think so.
Yeah.
If you are acrobating,
Mm-hmm.
then you're an acrobatter.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Twilight.
Yeah. Yeah, we only had 1 chapter of each. Oh, it was so great, even though both were so long, though.
So long.
So
Like
long.
1,000 years long.
Ugh.
But yeah, tell us about those, you guys.
Well, I guess I'll start off with Twilight. So we're on chapter 13, Confessions. I think Midnight Sun's the same name, except it's chapter 17.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how to summarize this chapter besides it's the infamous meadow scene. Edward sparkles, Bella's horny, Edward throws a bit of a temper tantrum, the stupid lamb falls in love with the masochistic lion. You know, normal teen vampire stuff. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Well, despite the fact that this chapter of Midnight Sun was 39 pages long,
Oh my god.
not much happened that we didn't see in Twilight. It just happened longer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a brief flashback to when Edward returned to Carlisle and Esme after his stint off the wagon, but otherwise it covered the same ground as the Twilight chapter, just with that classic Edward twist, meaning it was aggressively dramatic, somehow both self-aggrandizing and self-effacing, and totally over the top in his declaration of love for Bella. But at least he does finally let himself imagine drinking Bella to completion, and admits that his separation of his vampirism as a monster is a bad coping mechanism.
I'm so
That's
sorry,
all.
I couldn't help but
I wrote in my notes, that last part, men will literally become vampires and suffer for 100 years instead of going to therapy. And I just
It's true,
wanted
though.
to make sure that went in somewhere.
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah.
That's the meme of this episode for sure. So,
Yeah.
the meadow scene, eh?
I mean, like, as just a scene and like writing wise, it's like a good scene. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not, it didn't make me cringe and want to die and be angry at every single part of it the way several other scenes have gone. It's just, I don't know, it's like fine. It's a good scene. There's a reason it's like the iconic meadow scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I was getting mad at myself because I was like, oh, I'm kind of liking this. And I was like, no, Sam, no, Edward. I was like, oh, but it's really cute. But then he would like say something really infuriating, then I'd be like, oh, he f***ing ruined it. And then
Yeah.
the last little bit of banter, like while they're like at the truck, that was really freaking cute. And then I'm just upset with myself because I liked it. So that's where I'm at.
Disappointed with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess neither of us mentioned in our summaries that they do kiss each other. That's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of important, huh? I forgot.
They
Yeah.
do kiss each other at the end there.
They do kiss each other at the end there. Edward carries Bella through the woods so that they don't have to hike several hours back to the truck. And then when she's still motion sick from being vampire whooshed through the woods, he kisses her and then she has to sit down.
Yeah.
I mean, fair.
Yeah, reasonable, I would say.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I know we historically hate the Midnight Sun chapter more than other ones.
Yeah.
And I've been burned before by a Midnight Sun chapter making me hope for the future. But like this chapter has like actual progression in Edward like confronting all this stuff that he's been like vacillating over throughout every other chapter, being like, oh, but what if I kill her? Oh, but I want to be close to her. Oh, but what if I kill her? And at least he confronts it here in the quote unquote the knot that Alice was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And like gets over it and is kind of like, everything will be easy from now on. And I was kind of like, yes, good character development. We've made it.
Yeah.
We did it. Good job, Edward.
For all of like how infuriating the rest of the chapters we've read have been. I'm like, wow, look at us. We got somewhere.
We had growth.
Yeah.
Even though we're an 100-year-old, 17-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Over 300 pages into the book, and Edward has finally had a character growth moment.
Wow.
But it was really nice. Like, I noticed that too. I was like, oh, Edward, like, finally is starting to come around to the idea that he can be in love with a human and not self-flagellate over it every hour of every day.
And like the progression felt like it didn't feel crowbarred into this very short amount of time. It kind of made me feel like everything that had come before that was obnoxious. I'm like, oh, well, like it led to this point where he got like frustrated with everything that was happening up till this point and then was forced to like deal with it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly just like realized all these things about himself, about how like calling his monster inside a thing is a bad coping mechanism and he should stop. Like there are just 3 or 4 things that's like, oh, these were all terrible things up till now, but now he's solved it.
Yeah, it's nice that he has kind of the moment of clarity. I do like that it came after at the beginning of the chapter he talks about how he's finally gotten what he wanted and like Bella is kind of scared of him and is looking at him like he's a monster. He's like, I got what I wanted and I hate it. It's like, okay, well. Edward.
Now you are a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like, I can relate to this, but also like, oh my god, Edward.
It was a time.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, did anyone, I just like couldn't get past it. He's like describing how Bella's like blood and heart and everything.
Oh god, it was so gross.
There's like multiple points
So
where he
gross.
talks about it, especially like at the end or he's like trying to make it not affect him or whatever. But right at the beginning, it's like you can tell that Stephanie Meyer just like had to use a lot of different words to describe the exact same thing in like 4 sentences, and they were all fine up until we got to sloshing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like her blood sloshing in her veins, and I was like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Like, blood,
no,
don't do that.
don't
That's not how
slosh.
that works.
It's not
Oof.
how it works.
She's not a cricket. She doesn't have an open circulatory system.
Yeah, she's not just like a bag full of blood.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so gross.
It was
was-
so gross.
Such a bad visual that I did not need in my head. Like,
No.
ugh.
Yeah,
No.
because I feel like so many vampire books try and make it like enticing, which
Yeah.
like I guess this one kind of tries to do, but it's also just like, why are you describing it so disgusting? Like,
I feel like that was the goal.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel
to
like
make it gross.
I feel like she's trying to like go against the norms. And honestly, now that I've just said that, I also feel like her having the vampire bite in her series be the thing that is like deadly also kind of takes away from the sexuality that usually comes with vampire biting and
true.
like sexiness in those books, you know? Because like
Yeah.
you said, it's usually like, yeah, drinking blood, it's really sexualized in at least older vampire books. And now I'm wondering if Stephanie Meyer did that on purpose to take away from the sexiness of actually drinking the blood. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because like the whole like mouth venom thing is like, well, they really can't just like make out. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, does anyone else, every time Edward's like, the venom filled his mouth, just like imagine like an explosion of like
Yeah.
liquid in his mouth?
Like biting into a gusher.
Yeah!
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it co-ops the same pathways that like your mouth waters. Which
Yeah,
is not,
like salivary thing.
yeah, but that's not like a mouthful of saliva. It's like
It's just like a little, like, it's just like your
Yeah.
mouth is wetter than normal, but the way she describes it is like quite literally his mouth fills with venom. So, like, if he opened his mouth at that moment, it would just be like,
Dribbles out.
yeah.
So, I have 2 questions. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to pose both questions and then
Okay.
see which one we get. The first is, if the venom is like welling up in his mouth, similar to salivating, which is how she describes it, does it count as venom because venom is an injected toxin?
Oh.
Oh.
And then the other one, if they start making out, and then Edward like smells Bella and gets a bunch of venom in his mouth, and she swallows it, what happens?
Well,
Okay, wait. Yo, no, okay, I just realized this because isn't it, that's how like Edward impregnates Bella. Like every fluid that's in the vampire.
Well, not-
No, sorry. But what I mean, my tangent from that is that like
right.
every fluid in Twilight vampires is considered venom. Like every
Yeah.
fluid, right?
I thought it was all of the fluids just are the same.
Yeah.
Like it's all venom, no matter what its purpose is.
So, yeah, I guess it's to the sense if she's kissing him because he's not dry. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Wow.
That was just a really
Ew.
unpleasant thing
I
to
don't-
imagine.
Think about it.
Ew.
Yeah, anyways. So she's swallowing. Ah, I can't.
Yep.
Do you think if you had like a stomach ulcer and you made out with a vampire, it would turn you into a vampire?
This is a legitimate question.
Or like if you bit your tongue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does like I hate it.
No, this is a huge plot hole, guys. What if she has a canker sore? Or like,
Yeah.
what if like,
Or like what if she was eating chips and she got like a piece of chips stuck in her gum?
what if there's like, yeah, something, there's some sort of internal, like there's some small little nick and that venom gets in, and the way that Stephanie Meyer describes it is like basically like any little bit of venom is enough to like kapow by your vampire.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Yeah, the fact that he's just like there's no venom most of the time, and then like his mouth's just like dry.
That is literally
As
the
hell.
visual that I had to stop talking because I was like I was literally imagining kissing someone
No, I can't.
dry
Ew.
mouth, and I don't want to.
You know what? Here's the thing. We're never going to
Yeah.
solve this question because we
No.
don't want to think about it. So,
No.
moving on. But yeah, it can't be. I guess it's a toxin, not a
It's a
venom.
toxin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. Okay. Different things. What else? What else happened in this?
Okay, the most important question
Yeah.
about Twilight that no one
Right.
has ever been able to solve or explain. I think we are the women for the job.
Okay.
Why do these vampires sparkle?
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
The big question.
Oh boy.
Like, I was trying to think of reasons why that would make sense or, like, matter, and I have a blank at the moment.
The only thing I can really kind of think of is that it has to do with that whole prey attractiveness thing. And so it's like, if they're trying to attract someone, I guess sparkling would make them more attractive. Like, I know my mom would find that more attractive. She fucking loves bling. Yes, I did say that specifically because I know she listens.
Hi, Sam's mom.
Sorry, we're calling you out on our podcast.
But like literally that's what my head thought of when I was reading it, because I was like, oh, my mom loves sparkle, so I'm like, yeah, if a vampire was sparkling and like everything else about that, like the smell, what other sense do we have?
They're, like, so sexy.
They're just so sexy. So it's
So
like,
sexy.
if that was my only logical thing I could really think of, was that it was some sort of predator advantage.
Okay. Well, here alternative
Okay.
suggestion. The sparkling isn't like so selection, although you can't have selection
Yeah.
when they can't reproduce.
Yeah.
Barring that, let's pretend there is selection.
There could be pressure against individual survival, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like if we think of the reproduction as like who they turn and the traits that the turned vampire then has.
Yeah.
Higher selection for that. Anyway, we're getting into that, not that. But what if the selection pressure was for the like very hard skin and bones and everything, and the sparkling was a side effect, but since they're nocturnal, there wasn't selective pressure to avoid it, so so they just sparkle, but it doesn't really matter.
That's a very good hypothesis.
Right. Interesting.
Right, because like you can get these weird, like when there's selective pressure for one thing, but like a second thing goes hand in hand with it.
Yeah.
That doesn't negatively affect their reproductive rate. It can kind of just get carried along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That makes sense.
I would buy that.
So do you think the vampirization process is like literally petrifying in the same way that if you get like petrified wood, the like soft parts have been replaced with mineral, and it's the skin has been replaced by, I don't know, some kind of like diamond, or it wouldn't be opal. Opal's too soft, but like some kind of hard sparkly mineral.
Yeah, I mean like there are animals that lay down metals. Like you get like shrews have like iron teeth or something because they just lay down iron, and then you get like deep sea worms that have nickel in their jaws, I think.
Right.
So maybe
it's a metal
or a mineral, like it's just like I'm just saying
it's
it like a mineralization.
Yeah.
Even if we don't know the exact mechanism or why, I have a fun game we can play.
Oh, okay.
So I have before me a mineral identification key.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I'm gonna read out. It's not very long. I went through the whole thing.
Okay.
And we're just gonna, by the properties that have been listed in this book, we're gonna identify the mineral that Edward's skin is made out of.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. So I've written down all the like descriptors of Edward's glowiness as I labeled the table. So I'm just gonna read them out real quick to you.
Okay.
So we've got sparkled, diamonds embedded, incandescent, scintillating, glistening, marble crystal, shimmering, satin smooth, glitter, facets, marble again, iridescent again, and then refracting, prism-like, and rainbow sparkles, which is also prism. I think.
Okay.
Is so those are the descriptors we have of what this skin looks like.
Okay.
So the first step we have to choose is the luster of the mineral. And you either have
High,
metallic
all the way.
Yeah, you either have metallic, submetallic, or non-metallic. And I'm just putting us in non-metallic already.
Yeah.
Because it's not a metal.
No.
So we
Oh
have
my god, what if he was just covered in aluminum foil?
right? He just crinkles. The very first one is adamantine, which is having the hard, sparkly look of a diamond. Resinous, which looks like amber. It's kind of like not glassy. It's like dullish. Vitreous, which is glassy. And then the other ones don't matter. I figured vitreous or adamantine were the closest ones in this first step.
It's got to be adamantine, right?
Yeah, that was my vote.
Yeah.
That's specifically sparkly?
Sure. Okay, so we're going to adamantine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got non-metallic. Does the mineral have a definitely colored streak? I.e., does it leave a colored powder streak?
I'm going to guess no.
I'm also going to guess no.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, so
that would be too conspicuous.
Yeah, next question. Can the mineral be scratched by a fingernail?
No.
Can the mineral be scratched by a copper penny?
No.
I don't think so.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Can the mineral be scratched by a knife?
No.
I feel like
also
the
don't
mineral
think
can't
so.
be scratched by anything.
Yeah, maybe another mineral.
Yeah.
Maybe
a diamond.
Well, so that's the next question. Can the mineral be scratched by a sharp quartz point? This is the one I'm not 100% sure about.
I don't
But I
think
feel like
so.
no, yeah.
I don't think
right?
so.
Like, I think the only thing that can injure a vampire is like another vampire.
I'm pretty sure that's
or a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say also no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now nobody's allowed to laugh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Does the mineral have a prominent cleavage?
I'm sorry. I'm a child.
I also laugh. To describe
Yes.
what cleavage is in terms of a mineral identification,
Please.
cleavage refers to the way some minerals break along certain lines of weakness in their structure. Like an example is mica, right? Breaks along those sheets. So
I feel like you could go either way with this for the vampires, though.
Right? So I figured we could open both
Okay.
answers to this because this is the last question.
Okay.
And then it gives us a list. And on the list, I'm going to go with which rocks are described as having a white color.
Okay.
Yes.
He's white.
Yeah.
Very white.
He's white. So
Super white. And
even whiter than Bella.
Even whiter
according
than
to this
Bella.
chapter.
Yeah. And we're going to go with the ones that only have the adamantine luster, which I think there are only like 2 that give us these options.
Okay.
So, of the ones that have prominent cleavage, the only adamantine option is diamond.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one.
I just didn't know diamond had a specific cleavage pattern. That's interesting.
I think that's why you can get it like cut
Faceted.
as a gemstone. Yeah, faceted so nicely.
Cool.
Yeah. The other one in the other list. So we either have zircon, which I think is a dupe for
that's fake diamond.
Yeah.
It is.
And then the only other one is cassiterite.
Oh.
I've never heard of that.
Me neither. Let's look it up. I didn't have an end to this segment, by the way.
Ooh, it looks
How
cool.
do you spell that? Oh, that's too black.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it says, so of these 3.
It's a tin ore.
Yeah, cassiterite says more rarely it is white or colorless.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good description. Zircon comes in pretty much any color.
Yeah.
Including white. So could be that. And diamond is diamond colored.
Yes. Oh, Wikipedia says cassiterite is brittle. I don't think vampires are brittle.
Oh, no.
Interesting.
I mean, I feel like this just confirms that
It's
diamond is the most accurate
diamond.
comparison.
Yeah.
Diamond or zircon. I will just describe the cleavage pattern of diamond, which is 4 directions. Perfect in all 4 directions.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
definitely a vampire.
Yep.
So, after all of that, we have come to the conclusion that it is in fact Diamond.
All right.
But we did it scientifically.
We use science.
We scienced the hell out of it.
We don't need to be turned into a vampire to do this science. We can do it ourselves.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm glad we did that.
We done did it. Yeah, I was really hoping it would be something else because a lot of these other ones are described as prismatic, and I was like, but that was in the book. Come on.
Yeah.
But they aren't the adamantine, so it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it's got to be the adamantine.
Gotta be the adamantine. Anyway, I had a lot of tabs open for that. Let me just close them.
Well, diamonds are super strong. We know this. And Edward is so fucking strong, apparently.
Yeah.
He has this, like, whole tantrum where he demonstrates how strong he is. And in Midnight Sun, he even puts numbers to it, which I was going to do math with, but I'm not smart enough to know the kind of math that I need to do. But he rips an 863-pound spruce limb off of a tree and throws it, quote, across the clearing, 30 feet up, hard enough to crack another tree in half, and says that is a tiny fraction of his available strength. Can he, like, punch a hole through the earth?
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that.
I mean,
like, I wish I knew how to do this calculation to find out how strong or how much force you have to apply to throw an 863-pound piece of spruce hard enough to crack a hemlock tree in half from a minimum 30-foot distance.
Edward's gonna punch the moon out of the sky.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But wait, can vampires survive space?
Oh, they don't need to breathe. I don't see why not.
They also don't have to worry about compression. Oh my god.
Whoa! Hold on!
Yeah!
Okay, okay, wait. Everyone calm down.
Yeah.
They can't, like, go anywhere. They could survive floating in space. They can't move. Nobody, like, they would need, like, a jetpack or a spaceship.
But are they like tardigrades? They can survive the vacuum of space.
You know how NASA does that thing where they have to make sure to clean all the vampires off of their
exactly
probes before they send them to space so that they don't contaminate.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard because they use those security cameras, and we all know vampires don't show up in cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
Do Twilight vampires show up in cameras? I don't think that's come up. I think they do, don't they? They take a picture.
Yeah, they do.
Ooh.
That would have been, I would argue, a very difficult thing to convince me of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're just, like, vibrating at a weird frequency where they just cease to exist for
and they just
cameras.
Don't refract light properly or something. Or
Yeah.
I mean, if we've learned anything, it's that they refract all the light.
All the light.
Yes.
Lots of light.
In every direction.
I wonder if they have their own albedo effect.
Oh, I bet they do.
Yeah.
So they cause snow to melt around them.
Just imagine a field of vampires, like, all together. And
oh, jeez.
Just, like, frying a small anthill just by standing next to it. So rude.
That's how Edward cooks breakfast for Bella when they go camping together. He just angles himself at an egg.
It's like, Edward, we could just start a fire. No.
No. I need to use my horrific, awful, terrible monster vampire powers to hard boil an egg for you.
I must provide for you.
Oh, yes.
My glittery skin.
The skin of a monster.
The skin of a monster.
Because, as we all know, no woman likes diamonds.
No. Impossible.
No,
it's never.
I just, like, the part where Edward, like, murders people to eat their blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is, like, a thing that you should be like, this person will be scared of me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The thing where you glitter, I don't think that would maybe take me 5 minutes to come to terms with. Like, I'd be like, this person glitters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you've already accepted that they are a vampire who does not eat people but eats animals instead. The fact that your skin is weird is like not
Yeah.
the biggest deal.
Yeah. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we've all come to terms with people dyeing their hair to a different color. So, like, we could
I would
probably
never do
come
that.
to terms with people glittering.
Yeah. I mean, I wear highlighters. I'm wearing sparkly eyeshadow as we speak.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, Edward would have been around during the 90s when like body glitter was at its peak. Oh man, vampires must have loved the 90s.
Wow. Do you think vampires were like
Whoa.
day hunters in the 90s?
Oh wow. Do you think vampires originated that 90s trend? Like, I bet some super hot vampire was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go be a movie star.
Yeah.
And then got caught
Wow.
glittering. And then that like trickle down trended until 9-year-old me with no social skills had a bottle of blue glitter body gel
Yeah.
because that's what you did.
Yep.
That's what you did in the 90s.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting.
I support that hypothesis.
Yeah, while that trend was a thing, there were there were zero reveals of vampires during those years.
Mhm. Yep.
Man, ever since then, you know, vampires could probably just be like, "Oh, sorry, I really was into body glitter in the 90s and now
Yeah.
I just wear it."
As someone
Yeah.
who lived with someone who did a glitter beard, I can guarantee you that glitter stays like forever. I still find glitter to
Yep.
this day, and I have not lived with that person in 5 years.
Glitter never goes away.
Never.
Ever.
Both in the jokey sense, but also in the sense that it's microplastic and you should probably not use glitter if you can avoid it.
Truth. Yep.
The only sustainable kind of glitter is vampire glitter.
Oh.
Do you think...
And it's not, because I bet they don't really degrade that
No,
great.
props not.
Yeah. Are vampires made of plastic?
What?
No, we established that they're made of diamond.
What if you burn a vampire? Can you like This is really morbid. I don't want to finish that sentence. Never mind.
But if they're diamond,
I was thinking the Volturi must start like turning this into a money-making thing, and instead of burning their vampire enemies, they just grind them up into glitter and sell it to environmentalists
But
like us.
that's what I'm wondering is like if you burned a vampire and you take the ash and you pressurize it like you would carbon, like to get a diamond, would you just not?
Do you just get a squished vampire?
Do you just not get a vampire diamond?
Wait, are artificial diamonds made of vampires?
I mean,
wait, does that mean? But then vampires are made of zircon,
Oh.
wait.
because that's what artificial diamonds are.
Oh,
You can like make actual carbon diamonds in a lab now, can't you?
I think so. Because I had a friend message me because he's, I guess, looking to buy for his girlfriend. And he was like, would you prefer an artificial or real? And I was like, well, artificial because the carbon impact is probably less. So I'm pretty sure you
Also,
can.
they're less likely to be mined by small children.
That as well. Yep.
Yeah, no, they're the same thing.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's entirely impossible that if a vampire was burned and you took those ashes and you did some magic-y science with it, you could reverse engineer a diamond from it. I'm just saying.
Do you think the ashes would just be glitter?
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe they just sell the body to a diamond seller and be like, "We made it.
We made some
It's
glitter."
diamonds."
But
Yeah.
does that mean their insides are also? Yeah, because we've had this discussion before
Yeah.
too, because that's the only way that their circulatory system can work without a beating heart.
Yeah.
So they're...
Hey, did you notice that Edward specifically comments on his lack of a circulatory system in this chapter? Because
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Okay, but hold on.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but he says that, but then in the Twilight chapter, Bella specifically notes that he has
Yeah!
blue veins.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has blue veins and like a flush from a hunting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Page 1, Bella's like, oh, and he had a flush from hunting. And I was like,
Excuse me?
He was like, excuse the fuck out of you, what do you mean?
how? But then also, is the Venom blue? I didn't think it was. I thought it was clear.
I would have assumed it was clear.
That's
Or is it like red?
no,
Or like, okay, why does
Okay.
he have a flush? Is it, do they drink blood and it just gets stored like in their head until it turns into venom?
sloshes.
Yeah, that part doesn't make any sense.
I guess maybe the coloring of the veins could just be like a camouflage thing.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. It could just be part of their like skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to think about those parts. We solved it already, and we don't need to think about those
Yeah.
parts.
Oh my god.
okay, well,
I hate
also
it.
related to that, Edward mentions that if he drinks specifically human blood, then he can feel full for weeks. And that also confused me. Because if he
thought-
drinks animal blood, he does not feel full.
I thought he was saying Bella specifically.
I don't remember.
Oh, I thought it was just because you were having human blood.
Oh.
I don't know.
I mean, that kind of like
It's unclear.
it kind of fits in though with the whole theme of like there's so few vampires in this universe that eat animals compared to humans, so it would make sense that
Yeah.
a human makes you more full than an animal. But again, it doesn't really make sense to me, like what's the difference between human blood and other mammalian blood?
Yeah. I mean, we've
Yeah.
talked about this, so maybe
Yeah, we don't need to.
we probably don't need to talk about it more,
No.
but I do still question this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would really only make sense if he was eating like rabbits, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
a human just physically has more blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, volume.
But like a grizzly bear would have more blood than the average human.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could come down to, I mean, human blood is actually very different, right? Like each species' blood is
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty different from each other.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it could just come down to whatever the minute differences are in a
Yeah.
human is what they actually need.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But, I mean, we still don't know what they need blood for, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
So we mentioned the like Edward knowing the exact weight of the tree branch
Mhm.
and then hucking it.
I hate that.
There's one specific moment where he just like nerds the hell out.
Oh my god. It's too much.
Which I want to start by saying that so glad to hear that Edward is a bird nerd. Yeah, so
Just
this
like you.
Yay! This specific part, it's like 2 paragraphs, and Edward is like trying to distract himself from Bella like touching him, which sounds bad when I put it that way. She's like holding his hand or whatever. I don't know. And he's
so
like,
he can avoid from venoming.
yeah, from eating her, I guess. So the first thing he does is he triangulates the exact location of all the birds he can hear and identifies the genus and species, which
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, it's in the word. You can't triangulate unless you're at 2 different points. You can't just sit in one spot and triangulate. Anyway, then he analyzes a splash and guesses what fish displaced that amount of water. Then categorizes insects. And then starts doing some math about how many insects are in the meadow and therefore how many insects are in Olympic National Park, which I did some math
Oh my
because
god.
he's like, he gives how many insects he heard in the meadow and how big the meadow is. So he heard about 5,000 insects in the 11,000 square feet of the meadow. So if you math it out to the whole Olympic Park, he guesses, I'm assuming, there's about 17 billion insects.
It's a
But
lot.
I didn't account for the part where he's like, and if insect populations drop 1% for every 10 feet of elevation, because you can't find a topographic map of the Olympic National Park without spending $15. So I'm not doing it.
Not worth it.
Again, not doing it for our Twilight podcast.
Nope.
But yeah, I forget where I was going with this. Oh yeah, no, my question. All of these things, like Edward calls a lot of what he does perfect recall. But do you think all of these things can be explained away by an eidetic memory or by like how many years he's had to learn things versus are vampires just like inherently smarter than humans?
I feel like the bird thing is plausible. Like you spend enough time listening to birds, like yeah, okay, maybe. The insect thing also, I don't know, maybe, like, but that's so precise, like literally getting like the exact vibration of like a specific insect's leg. Like it's still a far cry, but like I would buy it in a vampire fantasy YA book. Like, yeah, okay, sure. The displacement and the fish thing though, that one I struggle with, but I'm open to hearing other thoughts.
Because I feel like with very good, like he has like incredible, obviously, like hearing capabilities. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, okay, in theory, if you listened to a lot of splashes,
True.
right? Like you might be able to be like, oh, it's probably like a lot of water or like not a lot of
True.
water. Right? So you
Yeah.
might be able to be like, it's a carp because there's only carp.
Yeah,
Okay,
he makes it
true.
sound impressive, but it was just like, I know that because of whatever, like, invasive species, there's a 90% chance that
Yeah.
any given fish is a carp.
True.
Right? Like it's the same with the birds. Like any given
Mhm.
location, you're gonna hear out of 100 birds, you're
Yeah.
gonna hear 89 black-capped chickadees. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, because he said he was doing this math while also concurrently running through like songs that he
Oh
hadn't
my god.
heard a lot in his life.
Songs he had only heard once. It's like,
Yeah.
shut up, Edward.
So, like, fine, you can remember a song because you have an eidetic memory. Sure. But, like, can a person do this kind of math and the thinking of this music and, like all this stuff kind of at the same time? I don't know.
I mean, I can't.
Yeah, so I've had this conversation with a friend before, and just like basically it's impossible for the human brain to multitask. So even when you think you're multitasking, you're just shifting your brain thoughts like really fast. So it's like when you're watching a movie or like trying to write something or whatever, you think you're focusing on both, but your brain is actually like shifting really quick between the two, and some people are able to do that better than other, but you can't truly focus on two things. And like whether or not that's true or not is obviously highly debated, but that was her take on it, and I'd never heard that take on it before. And I think it is true, because there's like some things I can do that with, but there's other things where it's like if there's a movie on in the background, like I can't, like when I'm coding, I need like orchestral music, and that's the only thing that will work. So yeah, I don't know, but that's my 2 cents into it.
I mean, I would be inclined to believe, for the sake of these vampires, that they just have the capability to focus on multiple things at once, because that's part of what would make them such an efficient hunter of people.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. The way it was displayed in this chapter made me roll my eyes so hard that I got a headache.
Yeah. I think it fits with like the whole fact that like vampires are the superior species. So it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
humans, I don't think that multitasking to that extent is probably impossible. It
Yes.
is impossible, sorry, not probably. But like if you turned into a vampire, I guess Sophie's original question, are they just smarter? I think yes. Like their brains are probably working at a faster speed and just able to handle more. And to Hannah's point, that's what makes them a better predator.
Yeah, I think it's probably a combination of all three things that you posited there, Sophie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least that's what I was assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like what we were given kind of like was right on the edge of like, okay, this could just be like a very smart human brain,
Yeah.
or we're kind of passing into their like more computer in their brains than humans
Yeah.
are.
I would go with that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely some supernatural activity at
Yeah.
work with that one.
Man, that was some good vampire science talk.
There's a lot of good vampire science
Yeah.
in this chapter.
Do we want to do another vampire science?
Yeah,
Always.
I love
Okay,
vampire
Always.
science.
Okay, well, it's not really vampire science.
Okay.
At the end of these chapters, Edward runs back to the car with Bella on his back. Which before we even get into it, I just want to say he calls her little coward, which is way better than in the movies where he calls her spider monkey.
Oh my god, wait until you see my reaction on TikTok.
No.
I feel like both of those are terrible.
I personally like little coward way better.
Oh my god, I hated it.
I would be so mad if someone called me that.
I would leave if they called me spider monkey.
If my boyfriend called me either of those things, he would no longer be my boyfriend.
Yeah.
I feel like spider monkey I could be down with that because it's like kind of cute. But if someone was like, "Oh, you little coward, you don't want to do a life endangering activity with no preparation," I'd be like, "Yes, I am a coward. Like, go f yourself."
I'd be like, "Fuck you," and roundhouse kick him.
Here's
Oh.
the thing.
I'm Violet, though.
There's been nothing before this in the same vein as Spider Monkey.
Yes.
I don't remember if the movie there is, but like there nothing
No,
at
no,
all.
there's nothing.
Mhm. It
Like,
would have been out of place.
yeah, like I jokingly call people cowards all the time, but
True.
Fair.
and Edward has been like joking around.
Yeah, because Edward makes jokes, apparently. Nothing in Midnight
Yeah.
Sun would have led you to believe that Edward could make a joke, but he's just making jokes all over the place.
Jokes all over the place.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Got
no,
a little heated about that.
I also went down there. But anyway, back to the running thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so here are the facts that we have. Bella was holding her breath the whole time, or doesn't breathe until the end.
Yep.
Mhm.
She gets very sick and needs to
Yep.
sit down and is dizzy.
Uh-huh.
And Edward, as we have previously established, runs at 84 meters per second
Oh god, I forgot about that.
So did I.
at his absolute slowest. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Like, this is that was 15 minutes for a description of a few minutes. Because if a few minutes was 3 minutes, he was traveling faster than the sound breaking the sound barrier.
With Bella on his back?
So, well, I'm assuming that's not what he was doing this time. But that
Yeah,
was
he
what
must
we
have
had,
gone slower.
yeah, that's what we have previously established in another episode.
Right.
Mhm.
So I want to talk about G-force
Yes.
and at what point human beings lose consciousness underneath the gravitational force of going very fast. So the first, like one of the higher, once you get into higher G-force, your alveoli start collapsing
Mm-hmm.
and you stop breathing. So clearly that is the part Bella's at. Once you reach like 5 to 6 Gs is where an extended period of that, which is by extended, I mean over 30 seconds,
Okay.
you are going to start blacking out.
Yeah.
Because at that point, the blood stops flowing through your body and gets forced into your legs and arms. And so it like leaves your brain and your eyes are affected first. So you can't see very well. And then you go unconscious.
Damn.
Mhm.
But at like slightly less than that, in theory, you're just going to get dizzy. And so I was looking up how fast Edward goes at 84 meters per second. And that's about the speed that a race car goes.
Uh-huh.
Because that's like 300 to 350 kilometers per hour.
Oh man.
And so race cars, such as ones perhaps in the Formula One,
Yeah. Only some of them though.
only some of
Sorry.
them.
That's mean to Williams.
Just cutting in with a sick burn here. But race cars at that speed go about 4 to 5 Gs.
Yeah.
So if that's how fast Edward is going, like if he had just turned it up, and that's the slowest we determined he would go.
Oh my god.
If he turned it up like a hair, Bella could be dead.
Wow.
He's gotta have like slowed down, right?
He has to.
Like he's gotta.
He's gotta.
He has
Because like the Formula One drivers, they typically will experience like 4 to 6 Gs going around a corner, and they have to train extensively for that. Like if you've ever seen a Formula One driver, they all have the chonkiest necks because they have to be strong enough to hold their head in place while going around a corner at 6 Gs. They also have like special helmets and hands devices, head and neck supporters to like keep them in place while doing like 4 to 6 Gs around a corner.
Damn.
And I assume that Bella does not have the neck strength or PPE of a Formula One driver.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
she dead.
She dead. It says the average human body can handle 5 Gs, but like this all depends on how long you're experiencing it. And
Right. And
like
she would have been
most-
prolonged.
yeah, because that's a couple minutes. And a lot of these are like, oh yeah, like a fighter jet pilot experiences acceleration in 20 seconds. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah. So less
Mhm.
than that would be ideal.
Yikes.
Damn.
He's gonna kill her by
gonna-
accident.
Yeah, and he just like
God.
at the end of it, he's just like, yeah, I didn't really realize she'd be affected like that. And it's like, yeah, you think?
Which is like so against how he has been this entire time, with literally paranoid about every little single thing that could kill Bella, yet doesn't think about the fact that, oh, maybe I shouldn't put her on my back and run at the speed of sound.
Well, he always like forgets about basic human functions.
Yeah.
As if he hasn't been living amongst humans and, as we mentioned before, studying medicine for 100 years. Like, you'd think he'd remember things like G-forces and food. Like, he's such a ding-dong.
I mean, space travel and fighter jets really only have existed for, like, barely half his life.
Barely.
That's true. But Formula One has existed for 70 years. They had the 70th anniversary Grand Prix in 2020 in Silverstone.
So he should know these things.
Yeah.
It's so out of character for him in this chapter because, like, 10 seconds ago, he was being like, let me calculate the trajectory of how hard I'm going to throw this branch.
Exactly.
And it's like, you can't think about how fast you're running and that humans will die at that speed.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
That's so goofy. I also like that in the same scene, even, he mentions that they need to be getting back, partly because Bella has some human functions to take care of. And I was, because of who I am as a person, I immediately, like, reimagined the Twilight scene where they, like, have this, like, romantic thing in the meadow and, like, they almost kiss, but they don't quite, but they, like, see each other for real for the first time, and Edward starts finally being comfortable being himself, her and Bella, and then she has to go, like, squat behind a tree and he can hear her peeing because he's a vampire and can hear everything.
Oh my god.
This is why nothing romantic will ever happen to me.
Wait, this is a legit fear of mine, though, as, like, someone who likes going on hiking dates and who isn't afraid to pee in the forest, but I've never had to do it on a date, thankfully, but I've peed in the forest enough times, but I don't, the sheer thought of my date hearing me pee, no, thank you.
Last summer, I was working out of province during COVID, and we had to work during our quarantine period, so we had to go to this airport and, like, get on a plane with no bathroom, and then fly from there, and we weren't allowed in the airport to use the bathroom before we got in the plane. So every single morning for 4 weeks, I peed on the lawn of an airport.
That seems like a hell of the devising specifically for Hannah.
Yeah, seriously.
It was pretty rough.
No.
Anyway, I think about bodily functions a lot in these kinds of situations, and the fact that if someone had taken me for a hike for 5 hours and then we'd hung out in a meadow for, at like bare minimum, they were in the meadow for half an hour, because that's how long they sit there in silence with Edward counting Bella's heartbeats before they even start, like, talking and bonding and all of that stuff. So if it's been, we'll say at least, like, 4 or 5 hours since they left Bella's place, and then he's gonna, like, jostle her around on his back, like, she had to pee at some point. Didn't she, like...
As somebody who has trained their bladder to be able to go 10 hours without peeing, it is possible. But
yeah, but I don't think
she's trained her bladder.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just really poorly hydrated.
I mean, they didn't bring any snacks or anything, so yeah.
I mean, Bella's the snack.
Hey.
Sorry.
Nope.
No,
it was good.
That was good.
It was good.
Anyway, speaking of Bella being a snack. Gross. Edward tells Bella about how she smells particularly enticing to him. I believe this is the first time he tells her this.
Yeah.
And he says that it's happened for Emmett twice, and that Jasper doesn't know because he is not as sensitive to the nuances of human blood.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also the only vampire who consistently had an exclusive human blood diet for over a century.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think, like, wouldn't he be more attuned to the differences in human blood because he has more experience with it?
Or he's just more, like, glutton on it, so, like, to him it's not as distinguished because he's had it so much, whereas the others it's still like a treat.
So they're just super sensitive because they don't have it?
Yeah, because I guess like if you I'm gonna use his ice cream analogy, I guess. I guess the alcohol one is a good one, right?
Oh.
So it's like if you have subpar alcohol your whole life, you never really know what's out there, but then you have like that one really good one, like all of a sudden, I guess, and it changes the
But
whole
wouldn't you still
perspective.
notice? If you've only drank PBR and then someone made you, like, I don't know, a cocktail,
Yeah,
you'd be like, wow, this is different.
but if you only had the cocktails,
But they haven't only had cocktails.
but Jasper has.
This analogy has gotten away from
Yeah,
us. No, well-
yeah.
Okay. It doesn't make sense to me, but I will accept that there is some logic in it. But they talk about how Emmett, the 2 times he has experienced this like very strong blood draw, they don't talk about it. They heavily imply that he ate those people. And then Carlisle made the whole family go to the funeral of the victims every time they slip up and kill somebody.
Oh.
And, like, am I the only person, please someone say no, that thought this was hilarious? That he, like, if they like make a mistake, it's like, oh, you gotta go own up to your actions. You gotta go to the funeral and give money to the family for murdering somebody they loved. It's like, what the fuck? That's your response.
It is a very Carlisle thing to do.
Oh my god, just the idea that, like, oh, you made a mistake, like, you gotta go make sure you know what you did. It's like, your mistake was murdering somebody! Going to their funeral doesn't, like, make up for the fact that you murdered them! And that made me start thinking, because I had assumed that every time a vampire eats somebody, they just disappear them, but this is clearly stating that, like, you can be eaten by a vampire and then people, like, find you and have a funeral for you, and, like, your friends and family will know that you died. What state do they leave a person in? Like, what is the cause of death
Well, I mean,
that is recorded for these people?
They probably still disappear them, but if you disappear a person, people will still have a funeral when they
Yeah.
never show up again.
But I think
Sometimes.
it's
Like, you can
animal
get someone
attack.
legally declared dead. Animal attacks? But do animal attacks usually lead to total exsanguination?
No, and that's always like in a lot of vampire books, like that's always the mystery. If vampires aren't like out to the general public, usually how it's
Yeah.
like played out is that it's an animal attack, but they can never figure out why the victims are drained completely of blood. But the only logical thing in a human's brain is like, oh, it has to be an animal attack. So
Yeah.
normally
But
that's how it's played off.
She's just gonna gloss over that? Be like, yeah, it's no big deal. They just, like, find all of these dead people with no blood and, like, bite marks in their necks. Like, I'm sure nobody has made this connection.
I mean, do you think the average person would? I feel like we would, because like we're scientists and we always ask all these crazy questions, like we do every time we record this. But like, I feel like, I don't know, you're like average Joe sheriff in a like small town would be like, yeah, it's just an animal attack, you know?
But, like, we've established that vampire media does still exist in this world.
True.
So, like, if everything, like, prior to Twilight still exists, if, like, Supernatural is still a show in this universe,
Oh,
then there, like,
true.
are clearly people who think about vampires and are weird fans of things. Nobody in particular thinking about that. Like, why
Yeah.
are the... I thought that was an absolutely bonkers detail to just kind of slide in there as if it had no ramifications and wasn't a big deal at all.
I really just think they disappear the person.
Yeah.
And it's like you go to the funeral when they're declared dead. Right? Because like
That's not
time doesn't
usually
really
for, like, years later.
Yeah, but like time doesn't really have meaning to them, right?
Suppose so.
Yeah.
Plus, like, I'm sure there are ways that Carlisle, because they say like, oh, Carlisle has his ways of like doing whatever, that he could just be like, this person's dead.
Bye. I've declared them dead.
Oh my god. Carlisle actually works as a medical examiner everywhere just in case somebody slips up and murders somebody.
Yeah.
And then he can cook the books. I like that idea a lot, actually.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay. I don't know if you noticed, this chapter made me kind of mad.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I was over here being like, I kind of really liked reading these chapters. Like, I felt there was good progression. Even Midnight Sun had some character development.
Just like every page of Midnight Sun, I was like, what? Explain? The Twilight chapter was great. The Midnight Sun one took me 3 hours to get through because I kept having to stop and think about it or like go for a walk.
See, we had two very different experiences because I had to stop every 5 minutes to go do math.
That's probably better than what I did.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Well,
Yep.
Whirlwind.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I didn't really have anything else to talk about other than how horny everyone was in this chapter.
So horny.
yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god. One of my favorite parts was like when Bella was like, "Oh, was that very hard for you?" And he's like, "No, it wasn't too hard. Was it hard for you?" And I'm like, "Are you stupid?" Like, you can hear her heart racing. You can hear her blood rushing to her cheeks or like whatever.
I don't what?
No, just the blood rushing to her
Yeah,
cheeks.
I
Want to think about
Yep.
it. We're not.
No, I didn't think about that until just now.
So we're ending the podcast now, and it's the end of it, and we're done now. And Hannah, you need to think about this chapter thing you have to read about.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I didn't want to think about that ever. Okay.
I didn't mean for
we're
it
fine.
to be like that. I literally meant her cheeks because that's what it says in the book.
Yeah, no, it does say that. I just didn't realize the implications.
We like talked ourselves into talking about several things that are just very uncomfortable.
Yeah, anyways, Edward's oblivious.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. I don't want to think about Edward's dick venom or Bella's blood rushing anywhere. We're done.
No, that's
okay.
Breaking Dawn. All right.
Legions
Should
of
we-
teens thought about it in 2005, I think. Anyway, this is a family-friendly show.
Always.
Please
No,
review
it's
us
not.
somewhere, right, Hannah?
Should we guess what happens next time?
Oh yeah, that's what we do.
We do that.
Yeah.
I
Oh
forgot.
my god, my face is so warm now.
I didn't want to
I'm so sorry.
think about this book anymore at all.
I'm so
Okay, the
sorry.
next chapter, 18, is Mind Over Matter in Midnight Sun, and probably the same thing in Twilight.
Yes, it's the same in Twilight. Mind over
Okay.
matter.
Mind Over Matter.
Cool. The only thing I can like honestly possibly think of, which kind of goes with what we were just talking about, I'm sorry, but I can't remember if it's just the movie or if it's in the book, but I'm pretty sure like he openly is in her room now. Like she knows that he's in her room.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's like a scene with them in her bedroom. And I don't know if that's like directly next, but the mind over matter thing kind of makes me think it might be that. So that's my guess.
Don't want.
Hate this
Well, at least she knows now.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, consent is important. Remember how they're gonna go to the Cullen house at some point? Do you think that happens next?
That's probably two chapters.
2 chapters? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chill.
There are so many other books I could be thinking about right now.
Anyway, if you liked this chapter of Midlight Crisis, I don't know why you would, but you should consider rating and reviewing us positively on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. You can talk to us and find fun-related content on social media. We are at Midlight Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And all chapters of the show thus far are available on our website, midlightpod.podbean.com, and on YouTube.
And to close things out, I think Edward described just perfectly how we all feel about him. It's like he's some kind of demon summoned straight from our own personal hell to ruin us.
I think I did that to myself in this episode.
Yeah, me too. I'm faking my own death before we get to Breaking Dawn.